Good morning, YouTube. Vlog number 1. Finally. Just a side note. You guys might be noticing two things. Number 1, why is he wearing a hat inside his house? I'll tell you why. This is why. Number 2, you might notice one thing under my nose, above my upper lip.
That's a great mustache!
No, it's not!
Yes, it is!
No, it's not!
So gross anatomy doesn't start till 8:30. Right now it's 7:38.
1738.
I woke up early on purpose just so that I can prepare for class. I need to start doing this from now on if I want to do well. Try to do something different, you know. So one thing I've been doing for gross anatomy that to me helps a lot is I would go to Complete Anatomy app, and then for example right now I'm learning about the muscles of the hip. So for example, hip internal medial rotators, one of them would be your tensor fasciae lata. So I took a screenshot of how it looks because I'm a very visual learner. So right here you can see the TFL. I marked where the origin is, the insertion.
And right here, tensor fasciae lata, I also wrote down what it also does besides medial rotate the hip. So from what I found out, it also abducts the hip, and then that's your superior gluteal nerve. And then so I keep going. So you have your glute med, glute minimus, now these are your hip external, lateral rotators, hip flexors, hip extensors, and so forth.
So that's my professor talking in the collab
This is where we left
for gross anatomy. And also I wear a hat during the virtual session just because if or when they call on me, I'll be ready and not so much looking like this.
And I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Did we call it the musculocutaneous in the upper, in the forearm, when it was the whole sensory?
It was
No, we called it what? The lateral anterocutaneous, which is a continuation of the musculocutaneous.
I knew that. So this is gross anatomy dry lab. Pretty much the main thing is that we break into groups and things like that to maximize the way we learn. Normally in a classroom setting, you look at models and things like that, but because of Corona, we have to do it virtually. Let me turn this down. We have to do it virtually, and part of the learning process is to break in groups, which helps a lot just because, you know, you can feed off of each other. And, you know, plus it's also nice to see, you know, people, even though it's virtual. And since we're online, it's definitely a lot tougher for sure. And you'll see it more later when we do classes like MSK and Applied Anatomy, where you really have to be hands-on. So if you think dry lab for gross anatomy is, you know, tough to learn virtually, wait till you see when you do practicals. This is just me being honest. I appreciate my professors for, you know, really putting the time to really teach us, but it's definitely different from being in a classroom, and that's just the reality of it. So let's just hope that this whole coronavirus ends, and let's try to stay grateful as much as possible. So right now we're at musculoskeletal. It's a 5-hour class, so in between like maybe an hour or so, our professor usually do have the class do some sort of like movement pattern so that we get the blood flowing, because it is a 5-hour class. So right now I have my video like muted just because I don't want them to see this. But that's pretty much what we're doing right now. We're doing hamstring stretches and you know, things like that. So it's pretty cool. So right now I'm watching videos for my Applied Anatomy class because we have a quiz every Tuesday before class starts. So I'm just watching demonstrations of my professor doing, right now she's doing an Oberg test. So I'm kind of learning what it is as of right now. So yes, that's what I know so far. This is pretty much what I do after class is done, because you have to keep studying and you do have free time. But today I do just want to study because I want to do well in that quiz. So yeah, just doing a little bit of Applied Anatomy, just teaching myself and making sure that I actually understand it, and not so much just trying to get a good grade on a quiz or an exam, because we're gonna be future clinicians, so we gotta know this stuff. I'll see you guys tomorrow bright and early at 7 a.m. for Gross Anatomy 2. Tuesday, Gross Anatomy 2, lecture at 7 a.m. Let's go.
Think of your car tire. If it's in alignment, it's spreading out the forces of the weight of the car. But if you're out of alignment, one part of the tire will take more force than the other part, and it wears out. So good mechanics will spread out the force. If your mechanics are off, like
Gross Anatomy. It can also be a car mechanic. So I have Gross Anatomy wet lab coming up at 9 a.m., which is 8 minutes away. So I'm gonna have gonna have a little bit of breakfast, healthy, nice dose of Cheetos packed with your essential saturated fats, cholesterol, sodium, things of that nature. So
superior is biceps, femoris, medial superior.
Gross Anatomy wet lab. So right now we're broken into groups. So right here we're going over the popliteal fossa. I don't know. It's not as, to me, it's not an efficient learning process. But like I said before, just gotta make the most out of it. So yeah, Gross Anatomy wet lab portion.
On the top.
Good.
And then biceps.
Good.
Sorry.
Good.
So part of being quarantined is to sit down a lot for hours and hours and hours. So make sure you have a nice foam roller to use in between sessions to do a little bit of pec stretch. Ignore the mess in the back.
In between classes, in between sessions to avoid that caving in because there's a lot of that happening. Also, your hips switching down a lot is just not good biomechanics, which reminds me of biomechanics in 2 days.
Alright, practical time. Applied anatomy. Like I mentioned before, these are one of the classes that you have practicals in. And this is one of the classes that really does take a hit because of coronavirus. Here we have our webcams on, but you see how each person are just showing their webcams. That just basically means that they don't have a partner to practice with for the practical. Let's see if anybody has one. Nope, from my group, no one seems like they have any. And our professor talking in the background, trying his best to explain the content, but like I said, without anybody to practice with, it's just gonna be a tough one. So this is just the reality of DPT school during coronavirus. For someone like me who doesn't have a partner to practice with, I'm gonna have to be very creative and use my man's here. He doesn't have a name yet, but so right now I think we're trying to palpate the iliopsoas. So then you have to place the patient, which in this case this bone right here, in the position, and you palpate the iliopsoas, which in this case is kind of useless. So right now I'm just trying to learn the information, so then once I do have a partner to practice with, I can hopefully transfer the knowledge and get up to speed when it comes to actually palpating and using the goniometer and doing the MLT and MMT and things like that, because this is rough. What's going on YouTube? What's going on YouTube? So Wednesdays are my remote days. I have imaging class during Wednesdays, but like I said, it's a remote day, so you don't have to be in class. Well, we're not even in class during this whole corona pandemic, but you know what I mean. When we're in school, we don't have to be in school on Wednesdays, I guess. So Wednesdays are kind of like my errands type of day, slash like get some workout done, get the body moving, because sitting down all day long just is not good for your body. So right now I'm at Mazda, getting my car fixed because I have a check engine light on. this thing has been going on for like 4 months now. It's such a pain in the butt. So basically that's just the story of what I usually do on Wednesdays: get some errands done, get some workout in, and things like that. So just because you have a remote day doesn't mean you can kind of relax. You should relax, but you should still try to get some stuff done if you have things get done. So right now I'm going to show you guys a clip of how biomechanics usually works. So right now we're analyzing my partner doing a grasp, basically just reaching for a bottle. We'll have to talk about the initial condition, preparation, initiation, execution, termination. So you're going to see a clip coming up right about now. Put it back, like keep putting it back, then grab it, put it back. Yeah, I just want to see how it looks.
197, 90.
Dang. So definitely, I think this is where like it all comes into like, can you really multitask or not? So then right now you're kind of doing two things at once. You're thinking, and this is like hard thinking too. Like you can't just like, if you're going from 0 to 100, it's being a lot easier. But then since you're going backwards, like, yeah, double multitask kind of hard.
Like slower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks, Jen.
See ya.
See you. And one of the good things about being quarantined and doing PT school at the same time is that you can eat in between breaks, or you can just turn off the camera and eat. I guess it's a positive, right? So hopefully you guys got a good general idea of how it is as a DPT student during this whole pandemic. Let's try to do our part when it comes to staying home, wearing our masks, and following the specific guidelines so that we can really move on and get back to the way things are. I mean, obviously that's not gonna be the case, but let's just try to do our part. And I think the number one thing is just try to stay grateful and really think about the things we're thankful for when it comes to what we currently have. Like for me, for example, like I'm able to still carry a doctoral program education even though this whole thing is going on, even though it's virtual, even though it is kind of annoying that I'm not able to do hands-on things, because that's what a big part of being a PT student is, being hands-on and being interactive with fellow students and professors and things like that. So I'm just grateful to be able to carry on my education, and hopefully we do get back in the classroom, because I miss it. I miss my friends. I miss learning the proper way. And yeah, I'm definitely gonna shave this mustache off after this video because I'm sick of it. Yeah, this is not I can't do it anymore. All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, peace.